my name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and I'm really scared I'm going to spill this, and today we are doing my April Tipsy Wrap Up. This is so full. So as you can see, today I'm drinking something very pink. It's a Cosmo on the rocks from a bottle, which I believe I've had before on this channel in this plastic martini glass that I got from Stop and Shop. I think this is also featured on the channel before, perhaps in this exact combination. But this is so sweet. I liked it the last time I had it. It is too sweet for me now. It is too sweet for me. But today is the 2-year anniversary of Tipsy Wrap Ups because I started Tipsy Wrap Ups as my April wrap up in 2022, and it is now my April wrap up of 2024, so that's exciting. 2 full years of Tipsy Wrap Ups. I think I've only missed 1 or 2, which is pretty cool. And yeah, this is the thing where I drink a fun drink and go over my reading stats for the month as well as all of the books I read in that month. And I'm still so scared I'm gonna spill this. I feel like I need to hold it with 2 hands. Okay, we're just gonna go like this, hold it like it's a bowl of soup. And the thing that I've decided about these tipsy wrap-ups with the help of my brainstorming booktube friends is that I am not gonna talk about any books that have appeared in or are going to appear in a vlog. So like last month, my March wrap up, I had a ton of books that were in vlogs, and I just felt like I was repeating myself. And I'm just gonna, I'll tell you my rating if the vlog is already out. If it's not already out, I won't tell you my rating. But either way, I'm not gonna talk about the books that are in vlogs in detail. So hopefully this will be a little bit shorter. And if you watch all my videos, you won't hear me talk about the same book twice. And I won't feel like I'm repeating myself. So that's good. That's the plan. We start with stats, so let me drink up and then put my drink down so that we can get to our stats. And here we go. In April, I read 9 books, which was a total of 3,017 pages. This, I feel like, is a lower reading month for me, which is weird because I feel like I read a lot, but maybe that's been May so far. I've read a lot. I don't really know. That was an average of 335.2 pages per book with an average audiobook length of 9.99 hours. My average rating is pretty low at a 2.88, so that's delightful. It took me an average of 7.88 days to complete each book with an average pages per day of 97.3. The total time I spent reading this month was 39.7 hours, which this number always seems like a lot. So even in a lower reading month, I'm like, whoa, 39 whole hours I spent reading and doing nothing else. Well, audiobooks, I was doing something else, but I was like dedicated reading for 39 hours. That's crazy. That's an average time per book of 4.4 hours. My reading speed in pages per hour was 82.9 on average, and 44% of the books I read this month were in series, and 22% of them were rereads. That's a really high reread percentage for me, but it's because of the Throwback Book Club, which we will get into. As for genres, it's an interesting genre pie this month because I only read 3 genres. I read a bunch of fantasy, a bunch of contemporary / literary fiction, and a nonfiction, and that was it. I didn't read any mysteries or thrillers, no sci-fi, no historical fiction, no romance, just straight contemporary literary fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. Age group-wise, I read mostly adult books, about 2/3 adult books and 1/3 young adult books. And I read most of my books this month on audio, with the rest being physical, no Kindle books this month. As for where I acquired these books, we have the majority are from my library, with 1 from Everand. This is pretty standard for me, no owned books read this month. I really need to get on that. I really need to start reading my own books. But I've been doing like projects and stuff which aren't books that I own. They're like new books. Oh, also I have a sunburn. So it's just fine. Sorry if you've noticed it. It's just fine. I'm pointing it out right now. Ratings wise, like I said, really low average rating this month. The highest rating I gave was a 3.5 stars. I gave 4 3.5 stars. And then going down from there, 2 3 stars, a 1.5, a 2, and a 2.5. Not a great reading month ratings wise, but that's okay. That's okay. And then we're going to get into the books I read. So I'm going to put my laptop down, pick up my drink, and we will get right into it. This is so sweet. I'm like, that's not the alcohol, that's the sweetness. It's so sweet. I really don't like it. I used to like it. I remembered liking it, but I guess my sweet tooth is gone. Maybe if I was drinking it with a salty snack, maybe that would work. But I don't have a salty snack and I'm not hungry. So we're just going to have to deal with it. The first book that I read in April was The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This I am reading with the Daevabad trilogy read-along that a couple booktubers are doing, including Mani from Reading with Mani. And I'll link the other ones down below. I think it's Expedition Through Pages and maybe a couple others, but I will link all of those hosts down below. They're doing a Daevabad trilogy read-along, and this was the first book. We read it. I think it was actually supposed to be maybe in March, but I finished it in April. This I gave 3 stars. I think this series has a lot of potential. I just didn't love it, and I'm struggling to remember why. I just didn't have overwhelmingly positive feelings about it. I listened to it on audio, which maybe was a mistake, but I started physically reading it and just was really slow going, and I needed to get through it a little quicker. Because it's so long, I needed to be reading it more often, and I tend to read audiobooks more often than I do physical books, even though physical books technically go faster for me in terms of like pages per hour. This is, what's it about? It's about Nari, it's about a world, it's about Nari, and she finds out that this magical world exists. What is it even about? It's like a fantasy, like kind of political. We've got this girl who doesn't realize she's of this mystical blood. I'm doing a really bad job of explaining it, but I don't really remember. I'm going to have to read a summary of it before I go on to the next book. I don't have much to say about it, just that I didn't really love it, so I gave it 3 stars. But it wasn't bad, I just didn't personally really love it. And then I reread Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, which was Beautiful Creatures is the series that we chose for the Throwback Book Club this month and last month. And the Throwback Book Club, if you don't know, is a book club that I host with my friend Danielle from Danielle Reads. And every couple months, we take a couple months to read a series that is like a throwback 2010s favorite. 2010s mostly because that's when we were teenagers, but like just generally a throwback favorite, nostalgic favorite. And I was so excited to read these because I did love them as a teenager, a young teenager, because the movie came out in 2013 and I know I had read all of the books before then. So like I was a tween. I was a preteen when I read these. And the first book was really fun. Our live show, if you have read these books and you are okay with spoilers, I would definitely recommend watching our live show because it was really fun. It happened today. I'll link it down below. It was on Danielle's channel. But the first book, I really, I enjoyed it. I had issues with it in certain ways that I talk about in the live show, but it was just a nostalgic fun time, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars, but like a solid 3.5, not like a low 3.5, like I liked it. and I think of it fondly. And then I read Beautiful Darkness, which is the second book in that series, and I gave it 2 stars. I did not like this one at all. I thought it was pointless. It was 500 pages of filler. I was not a fan. I was not a fan of that one in particular. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about that. I'll tell you that the series as a whole, it's like a witchy series. We have our main perspective character is Ethan Waite. He lives in the South. He's a teenager. It's very Southern. Like, the setting is very Southern, which is fun in some ways and, like, kind of in other ways. But we follow Ethan, and this new girl, Lena, moves to town. And he, like, is infatuated with her. And Lena's a caster, which is basically like a witch. And she's coming up on her 16th birthday, where she has to make this she either will get claimed good or claimed evil. Basically, light or dark. And that's drama. And then there's, like, they fall in love. So it's fun. It's a fun concept. Book 1 was great. Like, good. Book 2 sucked. More thoughts and spoilery thoughts in the live show discussion. And then I read this on live with Danielle, the 2.5 novella in that series called Dream Dark. This I gave 1.5 stars. I thought it was so bad. Like, it just was so pointless and so useless and so, like, I just imagined, and I don't remember this, but I just imagined, like, you're waiting for the next book and you're so excited for the next book, and then you get this to, like, tide you over, and it sucks. Nothing happened. It was so useless. It was about a character other than Ethan, but we didn't get that character's perspective, which I thought was stupid. I felt like if we had gotten that character's actual perspective, it would have had more of a point, but I just thought it was bad. So that was 1.5 stars. And then we get into my women's prize reads, which I think you saw my women's prize long list vlog last week. So I'm not going to tell you about these books. I'll just give you my ratings because the video's already out. I read Western Lane by Chetna Maru, which was 2.5 stars. I read Hangman by Maya Binyam, which was 3.5 stars. I read Enter Ghost by Isabella Hamad, which was 3.5 stars. And I read Night Bloom by Peace Ajomedi, which was 3.5 stars. These are all contemporary literary fiction type books that were nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction this year, and I did a whole video reading as many of the long list as I could before the shortlist was announced, which was a while ago now. And that video hopefully came out last week, and it'll be linked. I gotta flip myself. Which way is it? This way, I think? No, it's this way. This way. I'm committing. It's this way. It will be linked up above in one of the corners. I never know which one. And skipping past all of those, we are now at the very last book that I read in April, which was We Are the Weather by Jonathan Safran Foer. And this was my BuzzWordathon pick. If you haven't watched my wrap-ups the last couple months, or if you have watched them, you'll know that me and Ruby from Ruby Red are doing a version of the BuzzWordathon challenge. BuzzWordathon is created by Kayla from Books and Lala, and it's like a word that has to be in the title every month. And Ruby and I are doing a nonfiction version of that. So the buzzword for April was nature words, and we ended up going with We Are the Weather, which is a climate change book about the intersection. It's by the author of Eating Animals, which I think is more popular, but this one's shorter and I think a little more accessible. And it's about the intersection between consuming meat and dairy and climate change. It was upsetting, to say the least. It was like kind of a lot. And reading it with someone who is actually vegan was like something. I was worried it would make me feel super duper guilty and awful about my eating habits because I am not vegan or vegetarian. I do eat meat and dairy. But it comes from a place of like, we all do what we can, and we understanding that giving these things up is harder for some people than others, and everyone just does what they can. I do understand that it is frustrating that the author himself is not vegan. Like, he's preaching these ideas, and then he's like, he's mostly vegetarian, but he eats meat sometimes, and it's like, okay. But also, like, what he's saying is we do what we can, and what his thing is that we should all strive to eat no animal products before dinner. So, like, breakfast and lunch should be vegan meals. And it did inspire me to try to switch my breakfast from yogurt to oatmeal, which I think I'm going to try to do once I run out of the yogurt that I have, because I think in terms of, like, we do what we can, that's a thing that I can do with little effort, and it's actually going to be cheaper for me. So that's something that I'm going to try to do in response to this book. But mostly, it didn't teach me a lot. It kind of reinforced ideas that I already had and things that I already knew. But it was inspiring in some ways, and it got me thinking about these things in a new way. What I really appreciated about it was the discussion at the very beginning of why people struggle to make changes in their life because of climate change, because of the disconnect between our actual lived experience and what we know intellectually is happening with the climate. And so that was powerful, and there was an analogy to the home front in World War II that I thought was really powerfully written. But what did I give it? I only gave it 3 stars. So I've talked about it positively, and I did have a positive experience reading it, but I don't feel like it was overly life-changing in the way that it maybe was trying to be. And I think there's something to be said about, I don't know what there's something to be said about, but there's things to be said about lots of things. So there you go. You're gonna sit with that one, right? There's things to be said about a lot of things. Inspiring. And that's all the books that I read in April. That feels like it was so fast. Yeah. April was a month. It was my birthday month. I turned 23 a few days ago on April 30th. And May is going to be another month. It's already been a month. So that's how months work. Yeah. I have some stuff coming up, as always, that who knows if it'll be edited in a timely manner, but we're doing our best. And so look forward to that mysterious, unnamed stuff coming up. And I will see you. Make sure you comment down below. Have you read any of these books? Do they seem interesting to you? If you don't know what to say, tell me happy birthday. And give this a like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next one coming very soon. Bye.